capacitor and inductors, which is the fundamentals of electrical and electronical engineering. Okay, let's start. We already know that capacitor and inductors are two passive energy storing devices. Here the picture of common capacitor and inductors. First, we are going to see what is capacitor. You all know that capacitor is an energy storing device. Yes, the capacitor is a component which has the ability or capacity to store energy in the form of an electrical charge, producing a potential difference, which is also known as static voltage, across its plates, much like a small rechargeable battery. And this is a symbol of capacitor. The next figure is the capacitor model, which consists of conductive plates and dielectrics. In the upcoming slide, we can see about dielectric. Okay, what is dielectric? The insulating layer between a capacitor plate, which is known as dielectric, which is clearly shown in the first figure. A capacitor consists of two or more parallel conductive plates which are not connected or touching each other but are electrically separated either by air or by some form of a good insulating material. The insulating layer between a capacitor plates is commonly known as dielectric. And the next figure shows a typical capacitor. The space between the conductive parallel plates is known as dielectric. It can be clearly shown in the first diagram. And the next one is the capacitance of a capacitor. Capacitance is the electrical property of a capacitor and is the measure of a capacitor's ability to store an electrical charge onto its two plates with a unit of capacitance. And the farad is a unit of capacitance. We all know Q is equal to CV, which is the capacitance law. Capacitance law states that if the voltage varies and there is a displacement current, it is capacitance law. And the unit of capacitance is farad, which is given by Michael Faraday. Capacitance is defined as being that a capacitor has a capacitance of 1 farad when a charge of 1 coulomb stored on the plate by a voltage of 1 volt. Note that capacitance C is always positive in value and has no negative units. However, the farad is a very large unit of measurement to use on its own, so submultiples of the farad are generally used, such as microfarads, nanofarads, and picofarads. And the next one is we are going to see about the types of capacitor. There is a large variety of capacitors available in the marketplace, and each one has its own set of characteristics and application. Here, the type of capacitors available range from very small delicate trimming capacitor using an oscillator or radio circuits up to large power metal can type capacitor used in high voltage power correction and smoothing circuits. Commercial types of capacitors are made from metallic foil interacted with thin sheets of either paraffin impregnated paper or Mylar as a dielectric material. Some capacitors look like tubes, and this is because metal foil plates are rolled up into the cylinder to form a small package with the insulating dielectric material. And then the small capacitors. Small capacitors are often constructed from ceramic material and then dipped into a epoxy resin to seal them. Either way, capacitors play an important part in electronic circuits. So here are few of the more common types of capacitors available. Here are some pictures of types of capacitor. And the next one is the most common kinds of capacitor. Okay, here the most common kinds of capacitors are ceramic capacitors, which have a ceramic dielectric, and the next one is film and paper capacitors, are named for their dielectrics. And the next one is aluminium, tantalum, and niobium electrolyte capacitors, and polymer capacitors, supercapacitor, double layer capacitor, pseudo capacitors, which is store electrochemically with reversible Faraday charge transfer, and hybrid capacitor, silver mica, glass, silicon, air gap, and vacuum capacitors. And also have power capacitors, motor capacitors. These are the most common kinds of capacitors. And the next one is characteristics of capacitors. Here the characteristics of capacitors define its temperature, voltage rating, and capacitance range, as well as its use in a particular application. These are the characteristics of capacitor. And the next topic is capacitance and charge. Here we are going to see how the charge and capacitance are connected. You all know capacitor stores electrical energy on their plates of an electric charge. These are the formula. C is equal to Q by V, which is the formula of capacitor with acid dielectric, and C is equal to Q by V is equal to epsilon naught A by D is a formula for capacitor with a solid acids dielectric. And next we are going to see about capacitor color codes. Generally, the actual values of capacitance, voltage or tolerance are marked onto the body of the capacitors in the form of alphanumeric characters. Okay, by these methods, they choose the color codes of the capacitor. Here are some of the examples of the use of capacitors color codes. First one is metallized polyester capacitor, and the second one is disc and ceramic capacitor. You can clearly see the colors capacitors. And the next one is the important thing in the capacitors, which is capacitors in parallel. You all know about this. Capacitors are connected together in parallel when both of its terminals are connected to each terminal of another capacitor. The voltage connected across all the capacitors that are connected in parallel is the same. So then the capacitors in parallel have a common voltage supply across them giving, which is the same common voltage. And then here we can see the parallel capacitor equation, which is CT is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. When adding together capacitors in parallel, they must all be converted to same capacitance units, whether it is microfarad, nanofarad or picofarad, but they have to be in same units. And the figure represents the capacitors in parallel. The capacitors are connected in parallel, and these are the equations of parallel capacitor. The next one is capacitors in series. Capacitors are connected to in series when they are daisy chained together, which is, for a series connected capacitor, the charging current flowing through the capacitors is the same. In capacitors in parallel, the voltage are same, but in the capacitor in series, the charging current is same for all capacitors, as it only has one path to follow. And here we can see the series capacitor equation, which is 1 by Ct is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. When adding together capacitors in series, the reciprocal of the individual capacitors are all added together instead of the capacitance themselves. Then the total value of capacitors in series equal to the reciprocal of the sum of the reciprocals of the individual capacitance. And the figure represents the capacitors which is connected in series. And our next topic is inductors. Okay, what is inductors? The inductors is the simplest of all electronic components, constructed much like a resistor, a simple length of wire that is coiled up, which is known as inductor. However, here resistance is not the property we are looking for. It is something that happens because of the shape of the wire coil. It creates a magnetic field when a current is passed through it. This induced magnetic field gives this bit of wire some interesting electrical properties, especially inductance, which gives these part of their name. And we can clearly see the symbols of inductors. The first symbol is the air core inductor, and the next one is iron core inductor. The third one is ferrite core inductor, and the last one is variable core inductor. In the upcoming slides, we will see about all these type of inductors. Okay, next one is working of an inductor. In this slide, I'm going to explain how the inductor is working. Okay, an inductor, as already mentioned, is just a coil of wire. An inductor is just a coil of wire. As we already know, any current carrying conductor generates a magnetic field in the following fashion. The figure represents that any current carrying conductor generates a magnetic field. However, just look at the first diagram. However, if you plug in the value of the current into the formulas, then you will realize that the magnetic field produces is tiny, almost negligible, unless the currents are impossibly high in the order of megaamps. So in order to increase the magnetic field created by a specific length of wire, we wrap it into the form of a coil. and this increases the magnetic field. Like, and the second diagram represents the shape is also known as solenoid. When a voltage is applied across the terminals of an inductor, the current following creates a magnetic field. The magnetic field again creates an induced current in the inductor of opposite polarity, according to Lenz's law. You all know about Lenz's law. Here it was used. The overall result of this battle is that the current through the inductor cannot change rapidly. It is always in a linear slope. From this, we can understand that the current through the inductor is always in a linear shape. It will always flows in a linear shape. And these are the working of an inductor. And the next one is measuring an inductor. Here the first formula is V is equal to L to di by dt. Here V is the voltage, L is the inductance, and I is the current, and T is the time period. And the next formula is for the calculating the inductance of coil of wire is given by the formula, which is L is equal to mu n 2A by I, where L is the inductance in Henry, U is the permeability constant. These are the formulas for measuring inductor. Okay. The next one is different types of inductors. As we already saw, there is many types of inductors. And the first one is air core inductors. Like the name suggests, this kind of inductor has no core. The core material is air. Since air has relatively low permeability, the inductance of air core conductor is quite low, rarely above 5 microhenry. Since they have a low inductance, the rate of current rises quite fast for an applied voltage, and that makes them capable of handling high frequencies. They are mostly used in RF circuits. Air core inductors are mostly used in RF circuits. Here we can see the figure of air core inductors. And the next one is iron core inductors. Iron is perhaps the most recognizable magnetic material, which makes it an ideal choice for inductors. These take the form of iron core inductors. They are usually used for low frequency line filtering since they can be rather beefy and have large inductance. They are also used in the audio equipment. Here it is a picture of iron core inductors, and the next one is ferrite core inductors. Ferrite is just a powder of oxides of iron. This powder is mixed with an epoxy resin and molded to form cores around which wires can be wound. Ferrite core inductors are easily the most recognizable because of their dull grey black color. Here we can see the picture of ferrite core inductors, and these are the different type of inductors we can see. And the important one, which is inductors in series and parallel. Inductors are connected in series and parallel behave the exact opposite way to the capacitors. For example, to calculate the inductance of a group of inductors in series, you can simply sum up the values of the individual inductance, which is here the picture of a picture which is represents the inductors in series. The first picture represents the inductance in series, and here the formula comes up. L is equal to L1 plus L2, where L is the total inductance and L1, L2, Ln are the individual inductance. Suppose you have two inductors, one measuring, here the example comes by, and the next picture represents, the second picture represents that the inductors in parallel. Inductors in parallel behave the same way as resistors in parallel. The inductance is given by the following formula, where L is the total inductance, and you can see the example below. Just inductors connected in series and parallel behave exact opposite way to capacitors, it seems. And these are all about inductors in series and parallel. And the next one is, okay, useful inductor formulas. You can see the energy stored by conductor formula and rate of current rise formula and impedance. First one is energy stored by inductors. Energy stored by inductors E is equal to half L I2, which is the formula, and rate of current rise is V by L is equal to di by dt. Impedance that is related to the frequency by the formula which is given below. XL is equal to 2 pi FL, where XL is the inductive impedance, F is the frequency in Hertz, and L is the inductance. These are the some of the useful inductor formulas. And the next topic is inductor behavior in circuits. Inductors are pretty much useless in DC circuits since there is a constant current flowing and inductor acts like a bit of wire. They find most of their uses in AC circuits. Like mentioned above, they have an impedance which makes them useful to limit current in an AC circuit, such as fluorescent lamp ballasts. They can also be used to filter signals. See, in the first case, they are called as high pass filter, and the second case, they are called as low pass filter. Why they are called as high pass filter means the inductor allows all DC current to flow through it, ground, preventing all the low frequencies from reaching the output. Then at higher frequency, the impedance of the conductor increases steadily, so the signal can pass through the output. So they are called as high pass filter. And in the second case, they are called as low pass filter because the inductor allows DC and low frequency to pass through but blocks all high frequencies from the output. So it is called as low pass filter. You can clearly see in the figure. The figure explains the high pass filter and the low pass filter. And the next one is inductors in real life. Inductors, since they are made up of copper, wire, and ferrite, tend to be expensive and find most of their uses in radios, power supplies, and telecoms equipment. In power supplies, the property of an inductor to prevent sudden changes in current is used. Along with the capacitor, it acts to prevent sudden changes in the power supply, output voltage, and current. A lot of circuits make use of an interesting LC circuit called a tank. The capacitor is charged and discharged into the inductor, which builds up its magnetic field. When the magnetic field collapses, a voltage is created and charges the capacitor. This creates periodic oscillation, which can be used to generate high frequency. Here comes the formula of the frequency, which is F is equal to 2 pi root of LC, where F is the frequency in hertz, L is the inductance in henries, and C is the capacitance in farads. Hence from these inductors in real life can be briefly explained. Here this figure represents the inductors, some of the inductors, and that is all about the practical knowledge you will require to work with capacitor and inductors.